Hello everyone, my name is Zach. Have you ever stared at a chaotic IELTS graph, watched that 20-minute timer start ticking, and just blanked? You're not alone. I know the pressure of senior year is real, especially when your dream university abroad is on the line. But here is the secret. A Band 7 doesn't require you to be a creative genius. It just requires you to be a great architect. Today, we're putting on our hard hats and following the exact blueprint to build a flawless factual report. Let's build it. Our goal in this lesson is to be able to construct a Band 7 plus essay in IELTS Writing Task 1. You have just 20 minutes to analyze a chart and write a 150-word report. It sounds intense, right? But don't worry, we're going to break this down so you're ready for anything. Every successful build starts with respecting the absolute parameters of the test. Remember, you have a strict 20-minute time limit. While the requirement is 150 plus words, I want you to aim for a safe zone of 160 to 170 words to make sure you cover enough detail. Most importantly, remember, your content must be a factual report only. Let's start with the phase 1 of our build, the golden rule. This is the mindset that separates a Band 7 student from a Band 7 expert. When you sit down to write task 1, you need to ask yourself, what's my number one job? The answer is simple. Your job is to be a reporter, not a commentator. This is the golden rule of task 1. No opinions. Do not explain why a trend happened. Do not offer predictions about the future. And definitely don't share your personal feelings. Your only mission here is to report the facts exactly as they appear in the visual. Now that our mindset is set right, let's look at stage 2, which is the 4-paragraph blueprint. This is your system for success. Remember, even the best architects follow a workflow. First, you plan by identifying the topic and comparisons. Next, you write using the blueprint we will highlight in this lesson. And finally, you revise your work to check your spelling, grammar, and data accuracy. Here is your core schematic. A rigid, predictable structure ensures you never get lost. In the first paragraph, we have the introduction. Here is where you paraphrase the prompt. The second paragraph, the general overview, which is a summary of main trends with no numbers. Paragraphs 3rd and 4th are the details. This is where you work with the specific data and comparisons. A major code violation to watch out for. No conclusion is needed in task 1. Writing a conclusion is a trap because conclusions are for opinion-based essays. Instead, focus your energy on the overview. It's the key to unlocking that Band 7 score. But then, how do we manage the clock? We use the 3-13-4 strategy, which means basically the first 3 minutes to analyze and plan, 13 minutes to draft your 4 paragraphs, and a final 4 minutes for a thorough inspection of your work. This is really, really important. Okay, let's move into phase 3, which is applying the blueprint to construct a real report. Starting with the introduction. When sourcing materials for your introduction, never copy the question. If the prompt says, the graph shows the consumption of electricity, you should refine it to the line graph illustrates the amount of electricity used. This immediately proves your vocabulary range to the examiner. We're going to go into details how to write the introduction in our second lesson. So let's move on to constructing your overview. Here, you have to look for the big picture. What are the overall trends? What are the highest and lowest points? But remember, this is critical. Do not use specific numbers here. Save them for your details. Okay, coming to the details, which is basically paragraph 3 and 4. Remember, you cannot include every single piece of data. Dumping raw numbers results in a band 5. Here, we use the 6-7 rule. What does that mean? It basically means that you filter your data down to the most significant peaks, troughs, and crossing points. When you connect your framework, don't just list numbers sequentially. Don't just list, connect the data. Instead of saying A was 100 and B was 200, you should use a strong construction. While smart lights stood at 200, robot vacuums were significantly lower at 100. So remember the words while and significantly lower are highlighted because they actually show the direct comparison between smart lights and robot vacuums. Let's move on to the next slide. Okay, this is very important as well. To give your report a premium finish, you must use level up vocabulary. Instead of saying increase all the time, you should say something like soared or there was a dramatic rise. Instead of using decrease, try using a sharp decline or plunged. This basically adds academic precision to your writing. Okay, let's now watch how we transform a basic prompt about Istanbul into an academic introduction. On the left, you can see the question prompt, and on the right, you can see the upgraded transformation. I want you to have a look at both sentences and see the difference between the two. Look at the original prompt. It uses the verb shows, but the upgraded version has compares the trajectory of sales figures for, instead of saying sales of something. And then look at the timeline. The original prompt says from 2018 to 2023, but we paraphrase it to over a 5-year period commencing in 2018. Basically, you paraphrase the prompt by changing the sentence structure as well as the vocabulary. Okay, moving on to the next slide, we're going to tour our model home using this Istanbul data. Before drafting, we must answer, what's the story and where is the key detail, like that crossing point? Okay, in our general overview, we extract the story without raw data. Look at an example given on the right side of this slide. Overall, robot vacuums saw a dramatic surge, highlighted here again, eventually overtaking smart lights, which saw only steady growth. So I want you to pay attention to the highlighted words here. Overall signals that you are starting the general overview in your essay. Okay, here we don't use any numbers, but we try to give the main trends. So basically focus on the big picture. Okay, then in details, we zoom in. Here you can see an example sentence which you can see in the details paragraphs. See, here we focus on the numbers. In 2018, 50K, outnumbered, showing the direct comparison. However, contrasting one thing with the other, intersected, surpassed, showing the direct relationship between the two points given in the graph. Okay, so I just want to move on to the final inspection. Here, we're in the final stretch. Let's see why this blueprint works by passing the final inspection. Your score is held up by 4 pillars. TA stands for task achievement, CC, coherence and cohesion, lexical resource, grammatical range, and accuracy. In the next slide, we're going to focus on TA and CC, task achievement and coherence and cohesion. So in order to get a high achieving score for these criteria, you have to paraphrase the question. Provide a clear overview. This is a must. If you want to get a 7 and above from your first task, you have to provide a clear overview. Highlight key features, make logical comparisons, which is also crucial, and organize from general to specific. Okay, so basically you can think of it as a funnel introduction to your report. Okay. When it comes to lexical resource and grammatical range and accuracy marks, you should use synonyms to avoid repetition. Remember, repetition should be avoided in academic writing. Therefore, use of synonyms are really important in this respect. You should maintain an academic tone, and also you need to use that your complex sentences are error-free. Okay? All right, we're coming towards the end of our lesson. But before you hand over your paper, I'd like you to run through the success checklist. 150 plus words, paraphrased introduction, a clear overview with no numbers, comparisons made, no opinions, and a correct tense used. If you can check all those boxes, congratulations, you've just built a Band 7 report. Remember that mastering IELTS isn't just about passing a test. It's the stepping stone to your dream university abroad. You have the blueprint now. All you have to do is build. Keep practicing, and I'll see you in lesson 2, where we master the art of writing a perfect introduction. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop your questions in the comments. See you next time.